Welcome to Profile 3 TV, and today we're joined by Fearghal from Pitchbooking. So thank you for coming in and having a chat with us today.
No problem. Look forward to it.
So tell us what your product or your service is, and a little bit about yourself and how you got into the company.
Sure. So I'll start a wee bit about myself, I suppose, and then I'll talk about pitchbooking as well. So background, self-education background, I did a law degree a few years back. Knew from probably first year of it that it wasn't for me. I wasn't particularly good at it, to be fair, either. So I went on and did a master's in software development. So that's where my interest in technology is kind of sprung up from. After that, worked at a few startups after graduating, before in January 2018 starting full-time, myself and two friends, Chris and Shay, on pitchbooking.com.
Amazing.
So the product itself, put simply, it's a scheduling and payment solution for sports facilities. So whether you play football or ultimate frisbee, it's an easy way to find, book and pay for sports facilities locally that are suitable for you. At the same time, facility managers have the tools to better manage their bookings and payments online.
Incredible. Excellent. So it's a year, just over a year?
Yeah, so it launched in January 2018, and we had, luckily, with a customer lined up at that stage. So Oxford City Council were our first customer. They came online in January 2018, and they've just renewed for what's going to be their third year now. So we're kind of, 2 years in at the moment.
Incredible, and having a customer to start with. That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. A lot of early validation, I suppose, for what we were doing. That came through one of our co-founders, Shay, was in university at Oxford at the time. He was like a club captain for one of the university colleges there, and we got to know the groundsmen at Oxford City Council, and they kind of explained this problem. And it's strange because myself and Chris were working on this as a wee bit of a hobby project almost. We didn't see like a big business coming out of this. We thought we'd build this piece of software, give it away for free initially, so that when we were booking our games of five-a-side football around the Craigavon area, it would make our life a little bit easier. But kind of the three of us came together and seen this was a business really, as opposed to just
incredible. No, brilliant. Sounds very interesting. We're going to talk about that
sure.
as well in a second. So you did a degree in law, and then you did your master's in software.
Yep. So it was a conversion course basically. Right. In fact, both myself and Chris had that exact same pathway. So we both did a degree in law.
Amazing.
Neither of us were any good at it, and we're never going to make great barristers. So we both done that conversion course in 2013.
Incredible. And how did you find the conversion course then? Was it good, bad, different?
It was really good, I suppose. Difficult as well in ways. It was very much like I was about to say a 360. It's very much a 180, different direction from what I'd been doing 3 years prior. But it's probably more suited like what my interests were really at the time. So getting into that was, I suppose, the start of everything else I've done like in my professional career. Then.
Amazing. I've always been interested though. So studying the MBA, is it very general? It gives you good oversight of everything, or is it very specific in a specific code and software?
So it was the course was created in conjunction with local companies, I suppose, as well. So Queen's, I believe, I can't be I suppose don't quote me on this in case I'm wrong, but Queen's, I believe, went out to local companies and asked what kind of skills, what software development skills do they need currently in the local economy. So we did have one language. We studied primarily Java. Because that's what most companies were hiring for at the time. Now our product is built front to back in JavaScript. So if we were asked by Queen's currently, what we would like them to be learning, it would be JavaScript on that course. But
incredible. It
is going to change after 5-6 years. So
amazing. And then you had a couple of years in working environment, and you decided let's go for your own startup. Yeah.
So I've been from, I suppose, the biggest company. So I worked for PwC in Belfast for coming on 3 years. So I'd worked in massive companies, big, huge projects across the world. I was in Dubai for a while. I was also in Birmingham, Bristol, so it wasn't always glamorous, But worked on big, massive projects that way. And then after that, I went out to be a contractor. So I actually worked for some local startups, companies from very small. So I went to work for a company called Orca Money. They're now based out of Edinburgh, and they were a team of 3 when I joined them. So the very big, and I've been in the very small as well.
Incredible. And then you had the idea then to start your own startup. So big decision.
Yeah, big decision. So I kind of touched on it already, but that we had been building as a bit of a hobby project, basically an online calendar for sports facilities. Yeah. So I could go on and book our Friday night football game without having to try and get in contact via phone. Social club wouldn't be open. Then payment and all was a problem as well. Who paid, when did you have to pay by? But it was very much a hobby project. But there was a Propel program run by Invest and I out of the Ormo Baths. So we applied for that. That gave a little bit of money for me to go and pursue this full time. And then off the back of that, we built the company and all 3 co-founders came on full time.
Incredible, excellent. And let's talk about the services then, the problem that you solve.
Sure.
So you seen there was a problem that you were having?
So yeah, we were experiencing the problem ourselves very much, but we didn't really realize the extent of the problem, truthfully. So we had seen the problem for like very small local like GAA and soccer clubs and like small local businesses that even they were having a problem, with their 1 or 2 facilities, like who manages the calendar, how do they take payment, how do they handle cancellations, block bookings, all those things. The second we went and spoke to the city council, then we knew actually the problem was a lot bigger than we had ever first envisioned. So it was a problem for 1 or 2 facilities in a local club. Oxford City Council managed 75 or 80 facilities across a year. So that same problem just across different sites, across different sports, across finance teams, operations teams, groundsmen. So this kind of like lack of communication of how it's being booked, who's booking it, when they're booking it for. Wow. It's just massive, obviously, when you go to that many facilities.
Incredible. And you see this industry moving online? You see more opportunities for them to bring this?
We do. So I suppose like in 2019, you wouldn't see a hotel or a bed and breakfast not have some kind of online booking. The sports facility industry is definitely a little bit behind that. There's definitely some places that run completely manually, phone up or booking request forms or emails, like place a booking, pay with cash on arrival, leave deposits a week before. We could see this whole process in some places taking up to 2 weeks. So from initially wanting to book to finally getting the money all sorted and counted up could be 2 weeks long, honestly. So we see like the benefits. We say ourselves we can do it all in 60 seconds online. So we do see it moving that way. For sure.
Amazing. I've got the picture in my head already. Someone picking up the phone, the book, the calendar book opened and writing in their diary.
Exactly.
Notes.
Paper diaries, sometimes Excel files, Google calendars. Payments could be anything from, we've seen checks, we've seen deposits having been left in the offices and stuff. And we're trying to streamline that process and move it to like a standardized process. So where you can go online, the availability is instantly there on the calendar on our website. Go through a payment method online primarily. We can set up subscriptions for block bookers and stuff as well. So just trying to streamline that and bring it into kind of the way we see most other industries operating now.
Of course, and it must actually save organisations a lot of money, time, missed bookings maybe as well.
So we see like 2 like primary benefits. So on one side is the increase in bookings. So by removing those barriers to actually booking a sports facility, if it takes 2 weeks, there's people dropping off at every stage of that, right? Bring it down to 60 seconds, we have seen on average from our early customers increase in bookings of 56% against the previous year. And we would say that's not to do with like big marketing schemes or like social media pushes. That's literally just from changing the old process, what they used to have to do, to a streamlined one. On the other hand of it, it's the relief of admin work too. So there's the increase in bookings, but there's also the time spent administrating this. So you no longer have to sit waiting on a phone call, they can just like do all the admin side of things automatically because the actual customers are making the bookings as opposed to customers requesting to make them taking them, noting it down. So
amazing. So and I'm thinking of digital transformation. So it really is bringing organisations that aren't doing this with tech to the 21st century.
Exactly. So I mean, you'll see, especially if we're speaking about like public bodies, like local councils or administrations. You'll see more and more of their services are coming online. So we'd see like Oxford were our first customer, and Wokingham and other councils we work with, they're relatively good as far as like public bodies go in terms of having like, they have like bin collection times and stuff online. Like they are moving to like online platforms for a lot of their services. And sports facilities is just the next one on their list, I suppose.
Incredible, excellent. And have you had many bumpy experiences or fun in creating the business? Or I suppose in all startups there's the good and the bad.
Oh, absolutely, of course. So there are definitely lean times in the first few years of a company. I imagine anybody kind of feels that, right? Yeah. And we definitely had bumpy times, but I suppose for us getting through our like seed investment round at the start of 2019 there's really helped us. Now we have a bit more stability off which to grow the business, growing the team, so we're up to 7 people full time now. A year and a half in, so that's made things a lot easier. Some of the tasks are coming off the founders, not to people specified for those roles,
Amazing.
which has been really useful.
Incredible, and a few grey hairs then on the board then, so you've got a board.
I'm hoping they're not coming up in this video interview, but yeah, they're definitely starting to show, and a few grey hairs, a few people with more grey hairs than me on the board as well. So we have investment from seed investors, angel investors, across Belfast, Edinburgh and New York, and then we have a couple more institutional bodies in play as well in our round.
Impressive. So you've got customers around the UK, so not just locally.
Yes.
And you've got investors internationally as well. So truly an international.
Yeah, trying to aim that way, right? So I suppose longer term, our vision is to be more than just in the UK and Ireland. We want to be like the platform for sports facility management wider than just these islands, I suppose.
Amazing. And have you found any resistance? Your customer base are, again, dealing with councils and organisations that probably aren't too technical in their thinking. There can be a big decision cycle. Do you find that a little bit frustrating, or is there customers that you deal with that can make a decision at instantaneous?
Yeah, so they vary for sure. So we have some customers that are with us now that the decision process for saying they like the look of this to live on our website is up to a year, so that can happen. We also have customers where we first spoke to them maybe on a Monday, and 1 to 2 weeks afterwards they're live on the site. So it very much varies. It varies by size and it varies by type, I suppose. We also, I suppose, you can quite often be dealing with customers who just aren't like technology savvy. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine like some of the administrators at local football or sports clubs or groundsmen at local councils, the first inclination wouldn't be, is there technology solution for this? Mm-hmm. But I suppose a lot of hard work goes into making this easy work for them. So we try to make the platform as simple as possible to use. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's a lot of hard work behind the scenes to make that happen.
For sure. And building your brand and online is very important then for what you're doing.
It is, yeah. So it's something that none of the 3 founders probably had any expertise in from previous roles before. But we would see even now with the work we've started to do on this, we go out and speak to clubs locally or in markets where we already have other customers, and they would be saying things like, Pitchbooking, yes, we've heard of you. The website you can go and book online, yes, we've heard of you. So we're starting to reap the dividends a little bit of that now.
It can't beat brand awareness. Incredible, yeah, when that happens. So you found social media then, has it been beneficial to what you're doing?
Yeah, so I suppose for us, we're in a strange place where we're business to business and we sell to businesses, but also our users, our consumers, so we're B2C as well. So we're seeing like across the different social medias. So for B2B stuff, our LinkedIn and to a certain extent our Twitter has been really useful. Whereas B2C, with Facebook and Instagram, we're trying to grow the followings on there as well. Because that's where like the consumers, the sports people, the players, the public who actually use our site to book their sports facilities, that's where they reside.
Of course, so very interesting. So you have to be in all places.
We have to be across them both, I suppose. Like they're both important to what we're doing.
But a bit more of a challenge then, I guess.
It's a wee little bit of a wider net than would be ideal, I suppose, but it's an interesting challenge too.
For sure. I guess in your previous roles, you had project management experience, or you dealt with projects?
Yeah, so previous roles were I was like a management consultant in technology, and then some like project management, contract and stuff as well. So that's feeding into what I'm doing as a chief operating officer at Pitchbooking, I suppose.
Good skill set to have.
Yeah, to have to touch on them all the good and bad experiences I've had previously, quite regularly. So yeah, it's really interesting to try and see things I've done right and wrong in previous roles, and especially now that we're hiring for the first time as a company too, trying to advise other people like what I've seen before and how it's worked or how that hasn't worked, and try to take the best lessons from it.
Very good. And do you see a major difference from working in corporates to running your own business?
Yes, very much so. So it's different. There's all the good sides of that, the like getting to decide your own fate kind of thing, and all the bad sides of it never really turns off to an extent. Your weekends are kind of all roll into one sometimes with the working week, but I would see good experience across like both, like I was saying, like the massive companies I worked in, and that's really useful when we're working with like city councils and stuff as well. That kind of governance and like I suppose like process to things, and then like working with startups, they tended to work with smaller customers, and for us, we work with small customers too, like local football clubs, local hockey clubs. So it's useful to have both sides of that.
Incredible. And then you mentioned compliance, and I'm thinking councils. There tends to be a lot of admin work, and we have to think of GDPR and all this good stuff now as well. So you've been able to build that into what the service you're offering.
Yeah, so a lot of our product is really defined by our customers. So like our product features are built out on the basis of what customers are requesting. So with city councils, there's loads of stuff around like their own business processes. We're not trying to completely replace their business processes for the hiring and payment of sports facilities. We're just trying to digitize it. So there's a lot of I suppose councils would have more of what you would call red tape around how that process works. And on our platform, we try to enable you to streamline that process, but also bring it just online in its own right. So yeah, there's a lot of input from like how that works currently into like the platform.
Amazing. And do you face, we're talking about that, and I know that's been a hot topic over the last year for all businesses, but have you faced any challenges then yourselves?
Yeah, there are always things like that. So we obviously handle personal information to an extent because you have a login and a sign up. We handle payments also to an extent because you can pay for the facility booking online. So there's a lot of bits and pieces there that we have to be careful with, like rules and regulations around it. It's made a little bit easier in that we're just using like third parties like Stripe and PayPal, for the payment stuff. So to a certain extent, when you're using them, they're actually doing the hard work, obviously the hard lifting, in terms of like making sure you're compliant. But there's still things you have to be aware of for sure.
So it's integrating all these tools are out there without reinventing the wheel as well.
Exactly, yeah. Why we're not building those kind of things ourselves, obviously, because that's what the likes of Stripe and PayPal are there to do.
Amazing. So what's next? What's the plans? What is the global ambition for
Pitchbooking? I suppose it's always hard to say what it is in 5-10 years time. I suppose the medium term is to be the go-to facility bookings and management tool for sports facilities, really. And that varies in the UK and Ireland across like those small customers right through to the city councils and the large like private organisations that rent out sports facilities. And then beyond that, I suppose you have to look a little bit more global too. So we already have some inbound interest from quite a few like European customers. So people will contact us occasionally, say, oh, can you handle like Danish kroner as opposed to like, just pounds and euros. And so we do see some interest already from further afield. Amazing. Which is really exciting for us.
Excellent. So does the platform then, does it integrate into a website or is it separate? How does it exactly work for a client?
So for a client, what we recommend currently is that it actually sits completely separate. There are a few benefits to that. So what we typically give them is just a URL of their own facilities filtered in the search result. So if you go onto oxford.gov.uk, for example, right now, there'll be a link on there under their like sports booking page. It'll say, please book via our partner. When you click it, it'll just bring their facilities that are listed up. The reason we do that is that there is no maintenance on their side. So if you were to plug in or put an iframe or something like that onto their actual website, if something goes wrong, there's potentially something on their side that's the fault, whereas all the onus is on us. It was just a URL. We ensure everything's up and working.
Very good. So you're removing the barriers then?
We're removing another barrier there. We don't need they don't need a technical team for this software. Incredible. It all sits with us.
Excellent. So if there's anyone watching this today is interested to find out more about your solution, at the moment you cover a lot of booked sports centres across the UK or Ireland?
We do. So we have over 500 instantly bookable facilities on our platform across the UK and Ireland. I suppose if anyone's interested in what we're doing, they'd like to see more of it, pitchbooking.com /solution. Or find us on Twitter /pitchbooking, Facebook /pitchbooking, and our LinkedIn profile as well.
Amazing, excellent. So, and is there with that number of facilities, you must have a good percentage of the market, or is it massive? Is it the tip of the iceberg?
Very much, it's very, very tip of the iceberg. So there are a lot more sports facilities across the UK than you would imagine.
That's incredible. Yeah, I got that wrong. So wow, so you've a big opportunity then.
Yeah.
Incredible, excellent. So thank you again for your time today.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And if anyone wants to check out Pitchbooking, make sure you click on the links below this video. and check out what the guys are doing. Sounds very interesting. They're going to take over the world, no doubt. And if you are using sports facilities, maybe you've already used them and booked your session through their website. So do check out their website, see if your local council is using them, and maybe if not, ask them to check them out as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. So thank you again. This is Kieran from Profile 3.